Ciao a tutti e bentornati a questo nuovo episodio di Italian Accelerator. Io sono Manu Venditti di Italy Medisi, sono il vostro insegnante di italiano su YouTube. You know all that. So what are we doing today? Well, we keep going with the conversation that I had with my friend Christian, who's an Australian who speaks excellent Italian, and we're here showing you how you too can learn how to be that cool and that fluent in this amazing language that you're learning with me and with whoever else you are learning it. As usual, I have to say, because this could be the first video that you're watching, this is part of a series and it's all based on an episode where I shared a conversation, like a 10-minute conversation with Christian, and that's when we commented. So before you can proceed, you should go and watch that episode. Now also, something else that I ask you to do is possibly to subscribe, not because I want you to be a subscriber, but because I don't want you to miss out on future episodes. And if you don't tell YouTube that you want the notifications, then you will not be told. That's not cool. No, not cool. All right, here's the video. Loro
Ma certo,
andassero in Italia.
sì, perché è ovvio, se vai in Italia è sempre più facile parlare inglese perché è la vostra madrelingua. Ma se già sai qualcosa e se gli italiani vedono che ti stai sforzando.
Ma all'inizio, quando tu non sapevi molto, parlavi un po' così,
Mhm.
chiedevi scusa in continuazione? Cioè tu quando parlavi con qualcuno,
Mhm.
no, scusa, parlo male italiano, oppure parlavi e basta? Cioè chiedevi scusa o no? Alright, so a couple of things. The first one I actually mentioned in the closing of the previous episode, which was the fact that you should always try and speak Italian to Italians, even when they start talking back in English to you. If you persist and your Italian is decent, then they will give up. So it's a struggle. If you find somebody who is very keen to speak English, shut them up by keep speaking Italian, and they'll have to play along with you. And that's what Christian did, and that's how he managed to get to this level. Now, you don't know the full story yet, but as he mentioned in a previous segment, he was only in Italy for 3 months initially, like di fila, so 3 months straight, and then he went back later for like a month here and a month there. So a total of 6 months he was in Italy. And he never attended a course, but his Italian, as you can see, is excellent, and it's pretty much native level, you know, with some mistakes and some pronunciation issues like I do with English and like many other people do with other languages, but that's pretty good, like excellent. But then we move on to this topic, the topic of asking or saying that you're sorry. Now, as Christian points out, it's an English cultural thing, like it's an English speaking thing to always apologize for something. So I hear this a lot when I interact with learners or speakers of Italian who are not Italian, and it's like, oh, mi dispiace, scusa. This continuous apologizing for their level of Italian, and it's not necessary in Italy. Italians are a lot more direct, as I discussed in other videos on my channel. I even said that we are extremely direct and to the point of sometimes appearing rude, but this is a good thing. You don't have to apologize. Just if your Italian is not excellent, they'll realize anyway, but as long as they understand, it's fine. So don't go around asking scusi the whole time. It just doesn't help your confidence. You're better off just speaking, and that's what Christian did.
No, perché era evidente che non parlavo bene.
Quindi non dicevi cose tipo...
Il nostro modo, cioè inglese, americano, australiano, è molto di chiedere scusa. Tipo, scusatemi, non parlo... Cioè, è ovvio. Invece ho scoperto che gli italiani sono più dritti, no? Quindi
estremamente diretti.
Non perdono tempo di chiedere scusa. Ma poi alla fine... no. Cercavo di parlare e basta, anche se mi impegnava molto, cioè, facevo fatica all'inizio soprattutto.
Era evidente, it was clear, it was obvious. And actually later on Christian says the word ovvio. So it's obvious. Era evidente che non parlavo italiano. Two imperfettos. Now, as you notice, he'll keep going on with these imperfettos. Now, are you good with the imperfetto? It's going to come up later, so I might as well ask you now. Start thinking, are you good with the imperfetto? Are you using it right? Are you using all the time? Let's keep going anyway. So you've heard the story, so it's a continuation of what I just said, that English speakers apologize all the time and Italians just don't. We're very direct. So that's how probably you should be when you're in Italy. And all'inizio, soprattutto, facevo fatica soprattutto all'inizio. Facevo fatica, fare fatica, it's not there, but fare fatica means it's an effort, to make effort. So faccio fatica, it's like saying it costs me a lot of effort to do something. It's very difficult. Faccio fatica a parlare giapponese. I struggle to speak Japanese. So faccio fatica a, to make an effort at, pretty much. But not as in the effort as in the intention, but like it actually is painful, like it's painful to you. Ok, all'inizio facevo fatica, soprattutto. All'inizio soprattutto. At the beginning, above all. Or, yeah, soprattutto, you know this word? Above all.
Ma le due frasi principali che sempre chiedevo erano come si dice e come si chiama. Oh, anzi, 3.
Ok.
E cosa vuol dire?
Cosa vuol dire?
Cosa vuol dire cervello? Cosa
Sì.
vuol dire cervello?
Sì.
Come si chiama questo, ad esempio, se prendevo qualcosa, come si chiama? Come si chiama?
Uh-huh. Le due frasi principali che sempre chiedevo is a tiny thing that is very common for English speakers, is to misplace the adverb. As a general rule, you want to go with, if the adverb is a single word adverb, like sempre, for example, or any other adverb that's one word, the best place is to go right after the verb. So this sentence would be le due frasi principali che chiedevo sempre. So che chiedevo sempre, not che sempre chiedevo. And this is something that I hear it a lot. So just remember, if you're trying to use an adverb, put it right after the verb. Right after. Right after. You're going to be right pretty much all the time, except when you're always right, really. But if you have an adverb that it's made out of two words, for example, ogni volta, every time, or qualche volta, sometimes, then they tend to sound better at the beginning of the sentence. Qualche volta vado in piscina. Sometimes I go to the swimming pool. It sounds better than vado qualche volta in piscina, which wouldn't be incorrect because Italian is super cool and it's very tolerant with positioning of words. But so yeah, just remember that. So here are three phrases that you would use all the time. So come si dice, how do you say? E come si chiama, e cosa vuol dire. Now, you know these ones already. But come si chiama is the one that I think you don't use enough. And what I find is that most people have a hard time accepting that the verb chiamarsi is used for things other than people. Because you know it as come ti chiami, mi chiamo Emanuele, or come si chiama, mi chiamo Emanuele Venditti. So you're used to chiamarsi, the reflexive verb chiamarsi, to mean somebody's name. But it's the name of something. So he's right when he says, come si chiama questo? Si chiama telefono. It's called telephone, okay? So it's actually okay to use the verb chiamarsi to get the name of something or the word for something. And then, like I said earlier, the problem with the come si dice, if you're speaking to an Italian, is that when you use come si dice, it implies that you then ask the word in English, like come si dice telephone. And then they would tell you the Italian, but the thing is that they don't know English, so it doesn't help as much. So it really helps to be able to say come si chiama, what's this thing? What's this thing called? Yeah, like in English, what's this thing called? Roughly. Come si chiama? And Christian gives us the example of cervello. Well, that's a cool word. Just in case you didn't know, cervello is the brain. Cerebral, is that a word? Yes. So cervello.
Come si chiama questo, ad esempio, se prendevo qualcosa, come si chiama? Come si chiama? Uh-huh. E poi se cercavo di spiegare qualcosa, chiedevo come si dice quando, e poi cercavo le parole che sapevo già.
Infatti dicevo, perché il problema di come si dice, di solito, è che implica che l'altra persona parla inglese.
Sì.
Se tu dici come si dice Apple, sì, ma loro non sanno l'inglese, quindi
sì, ma
nel tuo caso esatto, quindi tu spiegavi.
Dicevo ad esempio Apple, la mela, direi come si chiama, come si dice la frutta c'è la frutta
Che si usa per fare lo strudel, per esempio.
sì.
Che ne so. Perfetto. So I just love the information that he's sharing with us. I mean, it's actually after we recorded the video, he said, "Did I say anything useful? Like everything sounds obvious, maybe, but we need to hear these things. Like I need to be reminded from my own languages. It's good to see a real life specimen of somebody who's accomplished what we all want on this channel, which is to be able to speak Italian fluently." And so, yeah, I would definitely suggest you listen to his advice. So, come si chiama? Come si dice? How do you say? Che vuol dire? What does it mean? And then he said that if you had to actually say a word that he didn't have, often instead of asking, you would just describe what the word is using Italian. And so, for example, for apple, we gave the example that it's like la frutta fatta così, and then I said che si usa per fare lo strudel, the one that you use to make strudel. So any way that you have to explain a word, it's going to be better for you than to say it in English, because one, they may not understand, and two, that's the lazy way, isn't it? Okay, so I love this, the usage of ad esempio. Now you probably know the expression per esempio, for example, per esempio, which often sounds per esempio when we speak fast, like per esempio, but it's per esempio. But a very common alternative is ad esempio. It sounds much better. That ad esempio makes it sound really nice, like it's a good sound. Ad esempio. So you can start using ad esempio instead of per esempio, alternating them.
La frutta così, con parole molto semplici, ma poi perché loro non parlavano inglese, quindi sempre dico per forza, parlavo, anche se non parlavo bene.
Well, I gotta bring it up again. Okay, sempre dico. Well, sempre is an adverb, so dico sempre, I always say. So that positioning of adverb pretty much gets all of you. So let's remember to put it afterwards. Dico sempre.
Sì.
Qual era la cosa più difficile? Torna a quando ancora non parlavi, quindi siamo nei primi 2 o 3 mesi, ok? Che ancora, primi 2 mesi.
Sì.
Qual era la cosa più difficile per te? Era la differenza linguistica o la differenza culturale? Perché tu abitavi con italiani, quindi comunque culturalmente possono esserci parecchie differenze, soprattutto abitando insieme. We have to talk about cultural differences. Now, not in detail in this video, but I did ask Christian whether what he found difficult was the cultural, I mean, just the language, or also the cultural differences, especially because he lived with Italians. And if you don't know, we are a little bit neurotic in general, pretty much, okay? So us Italians, yeah, we are, especially when you look at us from the outside world, we are pretty neurotic, especially when it comes to hygiene and order and tidy, like being tidy and stuff. So I was just wondering whether he had issues with that, being Australian and not Italian. For example, just a little, I'll give you one big cultural difference that gets all Italians when we live with non-Italians, and it's how we do dishes. Apparently, Italians are very different in this, and to me it makes total sense that we would fill the sink with water and let the dishes soak for a little bit in hot water with soap, and then do the cleaning, the cleaning of the dishes as usual, put them aside, and then rinse them with fresh running water. But apparently that's not a common thing, as I've learned with my travels. And so, yeah, it's usually a point of tension when different cultures end up living together with Italians, because Italians will demand that all dishes be rinsed with fresh running water. Anyway, little cultural fact. And that's it for today. It's been fun being with you as usual. Vi saluto, ci vediamo nel prossimo episodio di Italian Accelerator, dove continuiamo a spiegare il vocabolario, le espressioni e la grammatica usata da me e Christian nell'episodio 8 di Italian Accelerator. Di nuovo, non ti dimenticare di iscriverti al canale e di attivare le notifiche. Alla prossima, ciao ciao!